Chapter 1 From Trash to Treasure. My grandmother and I would sit and watch planes land and take off from Logan Airport while sitting along Castle Island in South Boston. She would make up stories of where the planes were coming from or where they were going to, and taught me how to imagine a world beyond our existence. Sometimes my grandmother and I would walk scrap yards around Boston. She would exclaim that one man's trash is another man's treasure, and we would discover some amazing finds together. I would come to learn that this mantra not only applied to physical items that were thrown away, but relationships as well. One time, we were climbing a heap of trash and my grandmother slipped and fell down the side. Immediately, I tightened my grip and stopped her from falling down a steep bluff. I realized a shooting pain in my arm and saw a piece of metal that had stuck into my forearm. The pain was intense, but I held my grandmother tight, and she was able to shimmy up my arm to safety. A tetanus shot and a few stitches later, and the incident was behind us. But the event resonated and instilled the core value that I adhere to some 40 years later. Of all the treasures my grandmother shared with me, one of the value I most is my perspective. Through our time together, I learned to view the world not in the way that it was, but in the way that I wanted it to be. My grandmother taught me how to manifest my dreams into reality through sheer persistence. Through persistence, I have learned to become resilient in my pursuit of happiness. Each small victory in my life has added layers to my determination in achieving success. I learned that failing at a task was a world of difference than being a failure. These factors became the supporting pillars as I progressed from poverty to pilot to producer and now professor today. Resilience and determination are the key factors that enabled me to see beyond my circumstances and give me the courage to strive for more. When I was a teenage boy, I would go swimming with friends in a reservoir in Saugus, Massachusetts. There was an abandoned pump house that we would climb up atop and jump to the waters below. Looking down from the edge was terrifying, and if you stood there too long, you would become afraid to jump. Someone had spray painted a short phrase on the corner of the edge that had a significant influence on my approach to adventure and exploration. The phrase simply said, "Jump, asshole." Two simple words, but so much power in their action. In my youth, this propensity to take risks led to significant gains in my position in life, but it also led to significant peril. Over the years, I adapted the phrase to be, "Jump, asshole, but watch your noggin." An emergency appendectomy landed me in the hospital my freshman year of college, and my grandmother was right by my side. The experience centered my focus on what I wanted from life, and as I lay in bed, the movie Top Gun played on the hospital TV. The Hollywood representation of life as a pilot looked pretty appealing to me, and I was inspired to look back on the times when my grandmother and I would watch airplanes from Castle Island. I had zero flying experience and quickly discovered it would take thousands of dollars for even basic lessons. A friend with a private pilot license introduced me to a U.S. Air Force ROTC, and he took me up on a few flights. Flying was instantly a passion of mine, and I wanted to pursue it more, but the obstacles seemed insurmountable, and I shifted my focus back to completing my studies at school. In the summer of 1996, I watched a late-night showing of the movie Independence Day, and then proceeded to hang out with my friends at my favorite local reservoir. As I stared at the night sky from atop the pump house, I experienced an almost out-of-body transcendence. It was as if the night sky had called to me and rang out, "Jump, asshole." The very next morning, I researched ROTC and applied for a transfer to a college where I could work towards becoming a pilot. My journey to new heights was now underway. Resilience, determination, and altruism form the pillars of my core value to this day. They were molded by my experiences with my grandmother as a young child and forged by my successes in college and achieving my goal of becoming a pilot in the United States Air Force. Throughout each of my pins of peril, these pillars were tested, and in every case, they served as the foundation for making my way home safely. My grandmother was an enduring influence that provided me with guidance and support as my adult life and career took shape. The day of my final check flight in pilot training, I was notified that she was ill. We talked on the phone and she convinced me to simply focus on my training and finish my course. She passed away without ever saying goodbye, but that's just the way she would have had it. To my Nana, there was no such thing as goodbye, only see you soon. Her faith, resilience, and determination have always been with me in times of peril, and they always will be. In retrospect, the trash incident is the earliest incident of peril that I can recall, and it was the first red pin that I added to my map. There would be many more over the years. This book is a collection of those moments. As you read through my pins of peril, it is important to see beyond the moment of the event and know that resilience and determination I learned from my grandmother are the reason why I am here to tell you these stories today. Focus on the future, adjust your attitude, and the future is where you shall find yourself.